What does the smartest person you know do for a living? I used to know an astrophysicist. This guy was insanely smart, knew multiple languages, published hundreds of papers with science terms I can't even pronounce, and was also a professor. He had a gift for explaining things without making you feel stupid or inferior and genuinely enjoyed teaching. That's the gift. People that explain wisdom without placing the listener in a position of inferiority. It's when people are so passionate about their work they are determined to share with others. Years ago I had a religious education teacher. Well, I challenged everything, of course, with me not being at all religious. I wasn't the best student, lol. But he listened to me, and eventually I really enjoyed that class. Introduced me to theology and it absolutely fascinates me. He was incredibly smart because he didn't have any answers. That sounds a bit like David J. Milan, who teaches CS50. I don't know him personally, but he seems to have that gift of teaching by being enthusiastic about it. Resident a doctor at a pretty famous hospital. We're all like barely 30. That dude got picked on hardcore in high school because he was a science nerd, but he straight up was like, I don't give a shit. I like science. What are you going to do about it? And now yeah. He's fucking killing it, haha. I'd love to climb through his window to chat while he types his nightly journal. Digi. It's hard to say. Smart has so many dimensions. People I went to college with became doctors and lawyers and college professors. One guy started his own software company and made millions. But the guy who had the highest SAT scores at my selective college got addicted to coke, blew up his marriage and career as a consultant, and is running a snack stand at a golf course. And he's pretty happy about it. Street smart people tend to be book dumb, while even professors notoriously struggle with simple problems outside their speciality. Smart is more contextually dependent than it seems. I genuinely don't mean this to be a dick, but I've always found the book smart/street smart distinction to be a fabrication, primarily peddled by people who claim to fall on the street smart side of things. There are people who are very singularly intelligent, but most of what goes into being smart are general capacities, and smart people tend to be smart in a fairly general sense. Everyone had shortcomings, but by and large it seems that smart people are generally more capable at most things. My father. He started as a janitor at a plant as a high school dropout, then got his JED, then worked on an industrial engineering degree, so he later got a job as one at the same plant. He later got a master's in accounting and passed the CPA test and worked his way up to CFO. Can you tell that man you're my new hero? Dude drives a damn Uber. Guy is a mechanical genius. He can build literally anything as far as I've been able to tell in 20 years of knowing him. Finally got his CNC and some other certifications a while back, so he could actually start making money doing what he's best at. Yet years later he's still driving a fucking Uber. Intelligent does not stable make. Just sounds like he never managed to turn his potential into success. Pretty much, yeah. I worked with him for a few years some years ago when he'd been working retail for a while and had a hard time making ends meet. Dude excelled, but only because I was his boss and I'd already known him over a decade and understood his BS. Anywhere else he would have been canned after a month, and he just doesn't see it. It makes me sad. He's a great guy once you get past the weird emotional issues. She's got a master's degree in engineering and works in a deli. Why? I knew a dude who worked part-time as a meat cutter at Below while he tried to get a degree to do HVAC. He decided he loved cutting meat so much and has good at it, he dropped his college work. He breeds snakes because it's his passion. He's extremely knowledgeable about every aspect of it and doesn't half-ass anything or ever neglect the health and safety of his snakes. He genuinely cares about his work and the snakes in his care, and makes a point to educate his audience as much as possible and answer every question anyone may have to the fullest extent. Before you ask, he may be a breeder, but he's not a scumbag about it, and the money involved is the least of his concern. Ball pythons? And then some. My grandma was a psychologist for 30 to 40 years, not sure exactly. She began her schooling for that in her 30s 40s after my grandpa found out he was dying and decided to ditch her with 3 children. She got her degrees, worked her ass off, and retired in her late 60s/early 70s with 3 to 4 retirements. She also wrote books on the side, miserly guidebooks for hiking trails and stuff like that. Oh, and when she retired from her psychology job she became a professor for about 10 years or so. On top of that, she got into real estate. She's been buying and flipping houses since before I was born. Some she sells, some she rents. She just sold a vacation home she had for 20 years at over 200k. I have watched this woman write a check for 50k and not even blink. She travels the world all the time, and she's still pulling in serious bank. Pretty sure there's some serious royalties from her books. Long story short, I aspire to be my grandma, 80 years old and healthier than most 20 years old, and loaded to boot. So, she's single? No. She remarried and is still with him. Pretty sure it's a sugar mama situation. He's literally the head of neurosurgery at a clinic in the States. Got the position at 35 and has been there a few years now. Stupid smart. Very happy for him. Insanely jealous of his salary. At 35, that sounds super young as a head of neurosurgery. Wow. Seriously. Like 10 plus years too young. My sister. She's a med student, has the best memory I have ever seen, and is also very humble. I wish I had her determination. It's truly a delight meeting people with mental gifts like incredible memory or awesome facial observation skills or spatial awareness, etc. It goes to show everyone deserves our attention, because the gifted are all around us. Fuck all. Smashes everything he tries. Lives on disability allowance. There was a smart kid in my high school. I suspected he had a disorder like autism, but whatever. He was really smart. He got accepted to a super good school, like top 10, and all he had to do was make sure he passed all his classes and not get expelled. He was in. You probably know where this is going, but the last week of senior year he had a math exam and all he had to do was just show up and write their name on the exam. The teacher had it set up where you get at least a 60% just by writing your name. Well, he ditched and did drugs. He failed that class, and the school rescinded their offer. Drugs ended up ruining his life. He's not the same anymore. Lost all his wits, and is just another cokehead. So I guess he was the smartest person I knew. I'm meant to be the intelligent one out of me and my C's. I fucked around, and found school easy. My sister worked hard and did well. She's doing much better, objectively, career-wise. I've ended up being a bit of a waster. I work, but I'm so proud of her. He works inspecting chickens for diseases at a poultry plant for the Uster. I worked for the plant after graduating high school and got put in the position to be assist the Uster inspectors. Never met anyone even remotely similar to the guy in my whole life. He has an insane memory and spends all of his time he isn't at work reading non-fiction books. He speaks 5 languages and had a deep knowledge on almost any subject I could bring up. As somewhat of an introvert who has lived all over the world due to his parents being in the military and spending all of his free time intentionally educating himself, even after graduating from college. He's also a 43-year-old virgin who has never moved out of his parents' house, and aside from learning his only other love is Star Trek. Honestly not a bad life, man. While others hate their partners and stuck in unhappy marriages due to kids, this guy's doing what he likes and contributing to society in his own way. I knew a guy like that, living with his parents, devoted his life to fandom and board games. Well, my judgmental attitude got an adjustment when he passed away as 400 plus turned out to the service. Among the people writing a few words in his memory I recognized politicians, a professor, a journalist and an actor. Apparently you can touch many lives just doing what you love. Stay-at-home dad with a younger wife who makes 6 figures. I don't know anybody smarter than dude who set himself up like that. It's me, UMN. Is your wife seeing anyone? Me. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.